This AI SDR agent will replace your entire SDR team. I know the workflow is pretty huge, so don't get scared away and just walk off this lecture. But trust me, once we break down this entire thing, it will be very easy for you to understand. And this AI SDR work basically for free. It also comprises of these two sub workflows, which is URL scraper and text scraper. So it includes all of these three workflows in order to create this AI agent or AI SDR agent. So the output will be this. All you need to do is just enter the query as well as the niche that you are going after. So I have typed, so if we zoom in, yeah, so I have typed I want to find out IT services in San Francisco Bay Area. That's all you need to do. Only the keyword and the location that you are going after, just input this, and rest all of this thing will be done on its own. So what our AI agent will do, let me explain. It will find out the top Google search queries or Google search result. It will scrape out those company as well as their website, the company description, their valid email address. These are not catch-all or invalid. We have used a reunion email verification to verify these email addresses as well as their social media URLs. And after that, the sky's the limit. To be honest, like since we have the LinkedIn URL, since we have the domain or the email address, we can easily enrich the company's LinkedIn URL. We can easily find out people working at this company. We can reach out to decision makers and then we can send out cold emails to them. But I'm not showing you that process because we have covered, I don't know, 10, 20 times in our previous lectures. As well as it will automatically add these leads to your cold email campaigns within matter of seconds, and it will automatically run cold email campaigns on autopilot. Yeah, so I have talked a lot. Now it's time to break down this workflow step by step. And I'm not building this workflow from scratch. If you want me to show, like, I'm happy to do it, but to be honest, it will take more than 5 to 6 hours entire long video, and most of you guys will just get bored. So what I will do is I will just make sure that this workflow will be in the resource section. So all you need to do is just click on import from file and import this workflow into your N8N account. So again, coming back to the point, all you need to do is, let's say you want to go after dental clinics in London, or you want to go after marketing agencies in New York, whatever location plus whatever niche that you're going after, just add it here. And we are using SERP API. This is the only paid thing that you have to use in this entire workflow. After that, like, everything is for free. Obviously you have to pay for LLMs, so like we are using OpenAI LLM, but apart from that you don't have to buy any expensive tools, enrichment tools like Clay or Persona. Everything will be done for you for free. Yeah, so if you go to SERP AI, just log in or sign up with your account. And the beautiful thing is this workflow or this AI SDR agent is not limited to only Google Maps search queries. You can use for Google Hotels, Google Images, all of these APIs. It will work just the same. Yeah, you can see YouTube search API, then Google Shopping API, video API, a lot of things they can do. But as most of you guys might be aware with Google Maps, that's why I'm using, wait, I will show. That's why I'm using in the engine Google Maps. But let's say you want to use Google Shopping or Google Trends, just change the value here. So what this SERP API request will do is it will go to Google and scrape out the top 20 listing of our keyword, which is IT services in San Francisco. Huge list of all the companies and their website. So what we want to do is we want to extract only the company name and the website. That's all we need, right? So we will use this code node again for free, and what it will do is it will scrape out the website and the company name individually. For example, company number 1, 2, 3 till 18. After that, what we want to do is we want to split out all of these 18 or 19 items into individual list. So we are going to use split out. Then obviously we want to remove duplicates as well, because sometimes there might be double listing in Google of the same company. So we don't want to waste our OpenAI credits doing so. That's why we will use this remove duplicates. So here you can see we have 19 items. But as you can see, by using this remove duplicate nodes, we are able to remove one duplicate item. And yeah, this limit is just for like to save my credit as I'm testing, but you don't have to use this limit, just delete this. And now comes the crazy part. So we have divided our entire AI SDR agent into three parts. First, what we want to do is we want to go to their company website or company database, and we want to actually scrape all of the things that is available, feed in the data to our OpenAI LLM and say, analyze what the company is doing or company profile in general. So this entire section will produce us this result, which is company description or company profile. Varsity Technologies company focus on IT services in Bay Area, founded over 25 years ago. It will literally scrape out everything. Basically what it is doing is it is going to the website and scraping and analyzing those content from the web data that we will get and condensing the main information that we need. Again, it is for free. You don't have to pay a single penny to, let's say, Perplexity AI, Gina AI or Firecall. It is for free, like genuinely for free. So in order to do so, we are using two sub workflows. The first for text profile basically means all the web data or all the text available on that website, and second for all the URLs. URL basically means, let's say I have my website lead gen man, right? So this is my main domain, but let's say this is my sub URL or sub pages inside my main domain. So what we want to do is we want to scrape out every single sub pages or every single URL available in this main domain. In this example, we have the domain Xterra solution. So what it will do is it will scrape out every sub page available in this domain. And then what we want to do is we want to give this data or give these URLs to our AI agent and then say, hey, just go to this website and scrape all the available web data or text data and then give it back to me. So we will use another sub workflow of text profile. So again, what it will do is it will scrape out all the text data available on that website or the URLs. And then what we want to do is we want to send both of this information to our AI agent and then say, you are automated web crawler task with extracting company profile information. And lastly, once you have that information, present the information in plain text without any formatting or bullet points, etc., etc. And focus on the most essential part. Yeah. So the prompt is very basic, to be honest, like it's nothing to rocket science. We are just telling that, hey, first of all, scrape the website and then automatically condense the main information or focus on the essential information. So that's the beauty of using AI agent. You don't have to tell them which tools to use. They will automatically select the right or appropriate tools in order to scrape the information or the tasks that we have assigned them. Sorry, I need to also explain this sub workflows. So first of all, let us talk about URL sub workflow. Again, it is pretty basic, but I have added a lot of nodes. That's it. So what we want to do is we want to go to this website or this domain. So let us go to execution so that you can see the result and not blank data. So the domain that we will get from SERP API, which is Xterra solution, we will just simply use HTTP request and then enter the URL. And what it will do is it will scrape all the HTML data or HTML content from that website. And what we will do is we will use split all the URLs so that we have all the sub pages or sub URLs in that domain. So if we open this, as you can see here, this is the main domain. This is their first page, second page, third page, etc., etc. Basically 24/7 service desk, monitoring operation, service management, etc. Same goes for any email addresses. For example, if we are able to find out any email addresses in that website, it will list out here. But in this example, it is not able to find out any email addresses. So don't worry, we will have this another section just for email scraper only, so that we are maximizing our chance of finding the email address to reach out to this prospect, as well as we are including all the fallback strategies. For example, we will only reach out to verified email addresses and not catch-all or invalid. Yeah, so again, nothing too crazy, just we are scraping the URL from that domain in this sub workflow of URL scraper tool. Now we want to talk about just extract the text or extract any web data available from that website. So this is very simple and we have actually done it so many times in our previous lecture. Again, what we will do is, let us go to execution. We will go to the website, scrape all the HTML data, and then we will use this markdown, which is again a free node inside N8N, so that you don't have to pay a single penny to OpenAI credits. And it will convert this HTML code into markdown format, and we will feed this markdown format to our LLM, and LLMs can understand markdown language much better than HTML code. That's why we are doing it. And as you can see, this is the result, best IT map service provider. So this is what we get here in this tool, best IT managed service provider. And then our AI agent will automatically analyze and focus on essential information and will give us this company description. Yeah, I think it's pretty focused, pretty succinct and short, but to be honest, very effective. We don't want like a essay company description. We just want in 2 to 3 sentences, and we are able to identify what the company is doing. Next, talking about this email scraper workflow. Again, it is very beautiful. All we want to do is we want to go to their website, and then we want to parse email addresses if we are able to find out any email addresses. In this example, we are able to find out the email addresses, which is info@versitysf.com. I guess SF belongs to San Francisco and Versity is the name of the company. Yeah, Versity Technology and San Francisco Bay Area. Makes sense. Yeah. So again, like we are able to find out so many email addresses, right? Because in every subpages there will be different emails. For example, these are all the 3 emails that we are able to find out from our second prospect, which is Versity. From our third prospect, we are able to find out IT Jones. Same goes for Centurus.co. So what we want to do is we want to remove these duplicates, right? We only want to process one email address. So we will use remove duplicates. And lastly, since we are able to find out the email address, after that we also want to scrape out their social media URLs. For example, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, if any. Why we are doing this? Because let's say we want to scrape out the company LinkedIn URL, or we want to scrape out their Instagram page of that company. We can easily do that. So if you open this, and yeah, it is working. So you are in good hands. Same goes for the Instagram. We are again using the URL sub workflow, this one, to find out the Instagram or Facebook URL, and then we are extracting that information. Just parse this information of their YouTube channel, LinkedIn channel, Facebook channel, and by using this code node, so let me open this. We have formatted the social media like this: YouTube, then the LinkedIn, Facebook, and the Twitter. You can see easily in the results as well. Next, yeah, I think we are pretty much done. So again, I'm summarizing what we have done in these 3 kind of sub workflows. First is for company description. Second is for finding the email address. It's very specific about it. In the first try, we already tried to do it, but it didn't work. That's why I made this another workflow that is only focusing on the email addresses and not company profile description. And lastly, in order to scrape out any social media URLs available on their website. And once we have all of these 3 data, we are using this merge node. Merge, as the name suggests, it will combine all of these 3 results into one node. Cool. Yeah. And what we want to do next is we want to make sure that we have find out their email address, right? So we do need to make sure that those are valid email addresses and not catch-all. Otherwise, it will hurt our email reliability and longevity if we are sending to catch-all or invalid email addresses. So we are using this reun. Feel free to use Million Verifier, feel free to use any email finder or whatever email verification tool that you want to use. I'm using this one. Basically, we are just making sure that these email addresses are valid. So if we go to result number 2, result number 1, yeah. And this is the beauty of it. So we have 4 or 5 items, right? Because we have limited to 5 items. So we did this entire process for 5 companies. But as you can see in the result, we are only able to get 3 companies. Why? Because the other 2 companies were having email addresses of catch-all or invalid. That's why we don't want to add them to our email campaigns. And that's why, like in this final Google Sheet, there is no chance of any error or any misleading about your email campaigns. Yeah, so it is just a basic loop of email verification, and we will add this data to our Google Sheet. Again, after that, feel free to add your smart lead campaign or your instantly campaign. I'm not just showing this because I want to focus more on how you can scrape this information. And yeah, the beautiful thing is you don't have to pay a single penny to play.com or any basic enrichment SaaS tool, those hefty fees. By using this type of workflows, and to be honest, it is very scalable and efficient. And once you're able to figure out how this is running, you are good to go for rest of your life. And if you have any question, do let me know, because I think it is kind of big, so that's why like you might fall into error, but I'm always happy to help. And I have added notes as well so that you can easily figure out. After we have find out the company LinkedIn URL, we can easily use Apollo or Epify to scrape the company details, find out the decision makers who are working at that company, and find out the email address as well. Yeah, that's all from my side. Again, if you have any question, do let me know. I'm always happy to help and my DMs are always open. Hi guys, it's Manthan here, or Lead Gen Man, and it's time to get started building workflows inside N8N. The first use case that we are going to build is Google Map lead generation AI agents inside N8N. So before we get started, I just want to show you a quick demo or a glimpse of what we are going to build in this entire lecture. So let's imagine I want to find out restaurant leads in Berlin. You can use any niche as well as any location that you like. I'm just using this as an example. So I will say find 3 best restaurants in Berlin. You can use 300, whatever you like. Just to reduce the time and show you quickly, I'm using 3 best restaurants. So let's test our workflow. As you can see, it is executing right now. And all the leads data will be added into our Google Sheet. Let's wait for it. Yeah, it is being added to our Google Sheet and then it will execute this workflow. Let us go to our Google Sheets. Awesome. So here is our 3 examples. We have the name, we have the address, then the phone number, then the website, then the ratings and the opening hours. Now the thing is, if you search on Google Maps, you won't be able to find out the email address as well as that kind of personalization that you can add inside your email copy. That's why you can see it is running our automation, this last automation that will find out email address and background history of that restaurant or whatever niche that you are going after. As you can see, it is able to find out the email address and this background information so that we can add personalization inside our email copy. And it's not like one size fit for all, or we are just spamming our copies. We are adding hyper personalization inside our each prospect list. Yeah, this is another example. You can do the same with dentist as well, or whatever you like, whatever niche that you are targeting. This is an example of dental care. We are able to find out their email address and we are able to find out the background history, where they are located from, literally everything, what they are doing, what their services are, so that we can add that kind of personalization. So if you go to Google Maps and search for your niche, in my niche or in my example it is restaurant, it will find out all the listing. And if you click on it, it will find out Gopi Dining Hall with their address, with their opening and closing hours, with their phone number and with their city or country. But the one thing you will notice is in this listing there is no email added, right? As well as let alone the website. So what our agent will do is it will find out, it will go to their website and it will do web search to find out their email address. So that's why it is not a normal N8N automation that you find on YouTube. It is adding that personalization and finding out the email. For instance, I have seen a lot of people just handling this thing only. They will find out the name, address, number, website, rating and opening hours. That's it. But how we will able to communicate with them if we don't have the email address, as well as how we will able to personalize the copy if we don't have any context or any information about that particular restaurant, dental clinic or whatever niche that you are targeting. That's why this workflow will be super helpful to you and you don't have to build this entire workflow from scratch. This will be in the resource section, so make sure to check it out. But I urge you to build this from start alongside with me so that you will get familiarized with the different nodes and the concepts of how you can scrape data. Even if you want to change the location, even if you want to change the niche, you can easily do that on your own and not just limited to what I have added here. So in this example, I have added for Germany, right? You can see I'm targeting Germany. These are the LL basically means longitude and latitude. So I will show you later on in the lecture how you can change them to your location, to your niche, whatever you like. Awesome, so let us get started. But before that, I just want to show you a quick overview of what we are going to build or how these 3 workflows are interconnected with each other in the Blackboard. First of all, let's name our agent as Google Map Lead Generation Agent. So this will be the flow of our agent. The first thing is the user will ask the query, for instance, what niche or what location they would like to find out lead as well as to enrich the data. Then our AI agent will search and extract information of user query. Then it will store the data to Google Sheet. You can use Airtable, Go High Level, whatever you like. I'm using Google Sheet example because a lot of you guys will be familiar with Google Sheet. So it will store the Google Sheet data, but in this data we will only have 5-star reviews. We only have phone number, address, name, location, that's it. We won't have their background context as well as we won't have their email address. So general information only. So in order to find out their email address as well as to add personalization, we will enrich our data and then add this personalized data back to our Google Sheet. So this will be the flow of our Google Map Lead Generation Agent. Now let me show you 3 parts of our agent. The first thing, as we mentioned, it will be the user input. So this will be our chat node and this will be our AI agent. This query will go to our AI agent that is connected to ChatGPT 4o as well as it is attached to memory so that it can recall past 5, 10, whatever conversation that you have with AI agent. After that, we are going to use Google Map search. After finding relevant information about these businesses, we are going to add those details to our Google Sheet. But one thing that will happen is we won't have any unique ID for each lead or for each businesses. That's why what we are going to do is we are going to add a UUID or unique ID to each lead. So this data will trigger another workflow that will simply just add UUID to individual lead and then add it to Google Sheet. Again, mind that this data will have general information only. So we need to enrich them further on to find out their email address as well as their contacts or background history of that business. So what we are going to do is once we have added this information, general information into our Google Sheet, it will trigger another part of our automation. So we have Google Sheet here, and to enrich our lead data, we are going to use Perplexity or ChatGPT search that will able to find out the website, that will able to find out the email address as well as contacts about their business. And then we will simply just update the Google Sheet row. Again, the reason we are enriching our lead is if you are writing email copy, you might be knowing that we need to add some sort of personalization and not write one size fit for our copy. That's why this enriching process is so important. We are able to find out literally everything about their business. Alright, so it's time to get started and clear this blackboard. I will see you inside N8N workflow. Awesome guys, we are inside our new N8N workflow. So it's time to rename it to Google Search Lead Gen AI Agent. Now let us try to recall the first step. What will be the first step? Just take a pause this video and try to remember it. It will be obviously a trigger action. In this example, we are using chat input by the user. So whenever a user will type in their query, it will execute our AI agent. So let us click on plus and search for chat input. So you can see we have the chat trigger. Obviously, the first step will be always a trigger module. You don't need to do anything. Just go back to canvas. And next thing we are going to do is once this query is being inputted by the user, we need to send it out to our AI agent. So click on plus and search for AI agent. Click on it. And here we have so many things to do. As you can see, it is connected to chat trigger node. It will automatically populate the prompt or user message, which is JSON chat input. This input will be the one that user will input via chat. Yeah, again, nothing too crazy. Now in AI agent, there are three modules that we can attach. The first is chat module. Second is memory if you want to add, and the tools. You can associate as many tools as you like with your AI agent. So first of all, for chat module, we are going to use ChatGPT 4.0. So click on plus and then search for OpenAI chat model. As you can see, it has three external nodes. The first chat module is compulsory. Second, memory is optional if you want to add it, and the tool branch. Awesome. So let us select OpenAI chat module. And here we have to connect our OpenAI account. Now, if you are watching this for the first time and if you don't know OpenAI, you might be living under a rock. Head over to this URL. I will tell my editor to show this URL, platform.openai.com/API keys. Then create your account and top up with some credits and then create new secret key. Let's say test2 and then create secret key. Copy this key. Again, don't get any funny idea. I'm going to delete this key right after this lecture. Use your own. And then connect your OpenAI account with it. Alright, I have already done that, and the model that I'm using is ChatGPT 4.0 mini, or we can use ChatGPT 4.0 as well. Search for GPT 4.0, yeah, this one. It is really great and powerful. Now let us go back to our agent, and it's time to add memory. So we can use simple memory that's stored in N8N, so we don't need to add it to any external database. If you have any external database, feel free to add it, but I'm using this simple example, which is simple memory. And for context window length, which basically means how many past interaction the model can use as a context. So leave it as it is, because trust me, we don't need memory in this example. Even if you don't have any memory, it's all right. Next thing we need to add is tools. But first of all, we need to add some context or some prompts to our AI agent. Like after getting the query, what it needs to do. So let us open AI agent, double click on it. And we have so many options, and what we want to do is we want to send message to our AI agent. Hey, this is what you need to do. So select system message. This is the default prompt, which is you are a helpful assistant, but in our example we need to give proper prompt to our AI agent so that it can understand what we are trying to achieve. For instance, we need to tell our AI agent that we need the name of the lead or business, we need the address of the business, we need the opening hours, we need the rating, etc. etc. So I have already created a prompt for you because this prompt is very lengthy, and don't worry, this will be in the resource section so that you can easily just import this in your N8N workflow and you don't have to write any prompt on your own. So this is the prompt that we will be using. You are a research agent. Let us expand this first of all. That's help find contact information from Google Maps or website. And the things we want to find out is name, address, number, website ratings, email, if possible. Alright, and when sending the number to Google Sheet, remove the plus at the beginning of each number because in Google Sheet there is formatting error. So that's why in order to prevent that error from happening inside Google Sheet, we are already telling our AI agent to remove the plus at the beginning. And yeah, if the email is not found, it will say NA or not available. So in this example, you can see we have NA or not available in case it is not able to find out any email address. Awesome. So again, make sure to check out the resource section from this prompt and this entire workflow. But I'm building this workflow from scratch because I wanted to understand how to create workflows and how to customize it as per your use case and your business need. So this will be our prompt, but we do need to give maximum iteration on how many times it should repeat the search. So you can add an option as well like maximum iteration, and we can set it like default as 10 as of now. Now it's time to add a tool that will scrape all the Google Map leads. Alright, so let us click on tools, and then what we are doing is we are using an HTTP request, or we are sending out a request to a server, Google Map server, that will able to scrape those leads. So select HTTP request tool. This is our example of HTTP request, and as you can recall from our previous lecture, we have to add the URL, we have to attach the method associated with it, as well as we have to send out the headers and body if needed. So let us go back to our whiteboard, and as you can see, this is an API call. We are sending out the request. So this will be the components of the request. We have the URL, method, header, and body. In this example, we don't want to send out any additional context via body, so we won't use body as it is optional. Alright, so first of all, the method is get, since we want to get the information from this URL. And the tool that we are going to use to scrape Google Map leads is Serper, which is the world's fastest and cheapest Google search API. So go ahead and create your Serper account and fetch your API key. Alright, so let us go back to our workflow. So I will input the URL googleserper.dev/map, and in authentication we don't need any authentication because we have the API key. Awesome. Now here we need to send some queries because we are attaching so many things, like we want for this exact location in this exact longitude and latitude position, and all of this information can be added or sent to request via parameters. So enable this option. The first query parameters will obviously be the user input or the user query. So we can name it as Q, which stands for query, and the value will be provided by the model. You don't have to worry about it, but we do need to define all of these short terms in the description, or it's sort of a prompt that we give out to our request. So inside description, click on expression, and we can say this bot helps to extract all the contact information for lead generation from Google Map. The input parameters are Q, which stand for query. It could be restaurant in Berlin. It could be, let's say, let us use dental clinic example this time. Dental clinic in my city, which is Ahmedabad. And here is the variable that you need to change in your workflow. For instance, if you want to find out gyms in, let's say, New York or London, all you need to do is just replace this with your use case and location. That's pretty much it. You don't have to alter anything else. Next, we have LL, which stands from longitude and latitude, and we have page. Page basically means page number 1, page number 2, page number 3 of Google search. I will show you, don't worry. So since we define LL, which stands for geographical coordinates, we need to add that parameter as well. So let us use the name LL, and we need to provide the value using the field below. The value will be latitude and longitude coordinates of your region. Now you might ask, how are we able to find out the value which is longitude and latitude of your location? I will show you an easy way. So just head over to Google Map search, and just type in your restaurant or whatever niche that you are going after. And here you can see the latitude and the longitude of your location that you are targeting. So all you need to do is just copy this with @, then paste it here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I will repeat, whatever niche that you are going after. For instance, I'm going after dental clinic in New York. So this will be my latitude and longitude or geographical location, right? Just simply copy this and paste it inside here. But in our example, I'm using my city. Now next parameter we need to add is how many page you want to scrape out. For instance, I have seen that like top 50 or top 100 are like good and potential lead. After that the results are not that good. They all have 1 stars and we don't want to deal with those type of clients. So we need to add page term as well. So click on add parameters and we can name it as page. We need to hard code the value. That's why we are going to use field below. And for value we can use, let's say we want to search for 4 or 5 pages. So I will show you. So if you search restaurants in Ahmedabad and if you click on more places and if you scroll down, you will be able to see it will scroll till 4 pages. You can add up to 9, 10, whatever you like, but in this example I'm just going after the 4. Next parameter we need to add is the host language. For instance, if you want to find out the result in your language, it could be in German, it could be in English, it could be in Hindi, whatever you like, you can define that as well. So we can say HL or host language. So in this example we want in English. Then for which location that you are targeting. So I'm going after India, right? Because Ahmedabad is in India. And lastly, what is the geolocation or GL? Again, these all things are provided in documentation of Serper. So feel free to like read the documentation. I have did that for you so that you don't need to do it. But I'm not making this thing out of thin air. This is provided in the documentation and we need to send out as a parameter. The value is IN or short form of your country. In example of India, it is IN. In example of US, it is obviously US, UK, or for Germany, it is DE. Awesome. So that's pretty much all the parameters that we need to send out to our request. Again, I will repeat, this is one the crucial that we need to change, as well as if you want to change the location apart from India, feel free to change it here. Awesome, now it's time to send out the headers. In headers, we are going to add our API key of Google Serper.dev. So the name will be X API key and we are going to hard code the value. Again, don't copy my API key, don't get any funny idea. I'm going to delete this key right after this lecture, but add your value here. It will look something like this. And we don't want to send out any additional body part or body parameters. Yeah, so that's pretty much all you need to do for this HTTP request. So let us rename this map search tool. So let us rename this. Again, go through this node because it is very important. And if you have any question, literally any question, my DMs are always open. Reach out us in the community. Great. We are configured with the OpenAI part, our ChatGPT model, our Serper. Now it's time to add our Google Sheet. But before adding to Google Sheet, we need to attach unique ID to each lead. Otherwise, we won't be able to identify. That's why what we are going to do is, instead of adding Google Sheet here, we are going to execute another workflow, sub workflow inside this our main workflow, and then we are going to add UUID into it. So as you can see, call N8N workflow tool. Select this. We can name this as store to Google Sheets, and the description will be obviously what data points that we want. For instance, we want the name only, we want the company name, we want the company address, we want the company opening hour, etc, etc. So click on description because it will be changing from every single time. If we are using fix, it will be like hard-coded value and we cannot change it. And why we are using expression is because this lead data will be changing every single time for each lead, right? And if we are using fix, it will be hard-coded value. We can use only for one time, and that's why we are using expression. So let us open this and we can say this is the tool to analyze the input and store it in Google Sheet columns. We are defining we need to define this thing like the headers. The headers is the name, address, number, website, rating, opening hours, and email address if any. If the email address is not present, it will say NA. Yeah, and we need to connect over another workflow that we will create right now. So as of now, just go back, save this, and keep saving your workflows. Otherwise, you will learn it hard way. Sometimes you will have network problem and your automation won't save and you have to build everything from scratch. That's pretty much it, and don't worry about this error right now because we haven't added the another workflow that we are calling to Google Sheet. So let us add nodes. Here you can add sticky nodes to it. We can say map search agent. So what it is doing is it is searching Google Map and finding all the relevant data and storing inside Google Sheet. Click on save. Now, as I mentioned, we need to add a sub workflow in order to call this N8N tool. So click on plus, search for sub workflow. Execute sub workflow. In this workflow, what we are doing is, this is the part 2. or this is the thing that we are going to build in sub workflow, which is simply just adding UUID to each lead. And don't use this one. We want to use it for trigger. So when executed by another workflow. So once this workflow will be executed, it will automatically trigger this one. Alright, I hope this makes sense. So select the trigger one only, which will have the Lightning Thunderbolt symbol attached to it. Now for input data mode, we need to accept all the data that is coming from our main workflow. We don't want to filter out anything. So just simply select accept all data. And then what we need to do is we need to add UUID to each lead. So here we are going to use code. If you are not aware of code, don't worry about it. This code will be in the resource section. Again, it is simply just adding UUID to each leads, nothing crazy. This is the code that we will use, which is in JavaScript. And again, I will show you how you can use ChatGPT or Claude to come up with this code without you having to write a single line of code. So you need to understand the fundamental or the concept or what you are trying to achieve in this code. See, again, I will repeat, what we need to do is if UUID is not present, we need to add UUID with a number, random number of 36 string, right? So here you can see I have added comments also. Generate UUID if needed. If unique ID is not present, then generate the unique ID with math random function. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can just simply go to ChatGPT or Claude to come up with this code. I have used Claude to come up with this code. I haven't written this on my own. Yeah, you don't need to configure anything else. After parsing all the unique IDs, we need to add this data to our Google Sheet. So click on plus, search for Google Sheet. Make sure to connect your Google Sheet account with your N8N credentials. So what we are doing is we are adding rows to our Google Sheet, right? So we are going to use append rows in Sheet. Then connect your Google Sheet account and the operation is append rows. Now let us create a new Google Sheet. Let us name this as lead test 1 and let us add all the headers that we have defined in our main workflow. Name, address, number, website rating, opening hours and email. Yeah, we have name, address, number, website rating, opening hours and email. Why I left this first column space is because we are adding UUID. Alright, I hope this makes sense because we just created a code for it. Awesome, so let us select our document lead test 1 that we just created. Sheet will be sheet 1. This is sheet 1 it is referring to. We have to map each column manually and I don't like to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use map automatically. Yeah, awesome. So that's pretty much it. Congratulations. You now know how to scrape Google Map data. But in the next part, which is the last part, we are going to enrich the data. So our like 50% of our workflow is done and we need to send a response back to our Google Sheet saying that we have added successfully this Google Sheet data. Call another N8N tool. So we can say the response are being added to Google Sheet or OK, whatever you like. So for that, we are going to use JavaScript or code. So this will be very simple code. Return JSON, response OK. That's pretty much it. Make sure to save this as well as rename this. We can say sub workflow of Google Map lead gen agent. So we will refresh it. Let us select from the list this one, sub workflow of Google Map lead gen agent. So let us execute it or click on open chat. To save some time, I'm just using one example, which is find one dental clinic in Ahmedabad, and let us enter. So it should work just fine. So it is calling our N8N sub workflow and it will execute. Awesome. So node executed successfully. Let us go to our sub workflow and here we are not able to see it because it is not inactive. So let us go to execution. Yeah, it did run successfully. So just wait. Yeah, so this is the full data that we are able to find out from our main workflow. Here we are adding UUID. As you can see, we don't have any UUID here. So let us click on schema. So it is just simply name and etc. etc. There is no unique ID for each lead and we need to add that. So yeah, we have the UUID here and the results are being added to our Google Sheet. So if we go to our Google Sheet, awesome. We have the UUID, name, address, phone number, website is not available unfortunately, the rating, the opening hours, as well as the email is not available. But don't worry, we are able to find out the email address as well as background of the lead by using Perplexity or ChatGPT search. It can work for any niche as well as any location. All you need to do is just change your coordinates, longitude and latitude. Same goes for your location and your query. That's pretty much it. So for enrichment or for adding personalization or finding out email address, first of all, we need to associate this Google Sheet. We need to trigger that here. Wait, I will explain the logic. So search for Google Sheet and we are going to use the trigger one. Why? Because once the row has been added by this our main workflow and this sub workflow, so imagine this data is being added, so it will trigger our third part of our automation. And we want to check every single minute if a new row has been added inside our Google Sheet or not. So select 1 minute, feel free to alter it like for custom if you want to select, let's say from half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever you like. But I'm leaving it every 1 minute. We need to select our Google Sheet, obviously sheet 1, and the trigger is when the row has been added. Awesome. Here one thing you have to keep in mind is sometimes it will be able to find out everything except the name of the business, this one. So our third part will fall into error. That's why in order to prevent the error, we are adding a filter, that is the name should always be present or the name shouldn't be empty. So click on plus and we are going to introduce filters. So for value, as you can remember, we need to call out this name column. So we can type it out, double curly brackets, as you can remember from the last lecture, $JSON and the name. Yeah, this will be your input, is not equal to name. Sometimes I have found out that this name Atharva Dental, I will just a sec, it will also say name. Sometimes it happens. So we are preventing that as well. The name of our business shouldn't be name. Plus add a condition of and, just copy this, shouldn't be empty. Again I will repeat why we added this filter, because if we perform Google search, if the name of the business is not present, it will run into error. And to prevent that error, we are adding this condition. The name of the business shouldn't be empty. And this condition is for sometimes the name is saying name, like the name of the business is name, and that couldn't be true. That's why we are preventing all the errors by using these filters. And now we want to loop it from every single one of the lead. For instance, if you are finding out, let's say 50 leads, right? Here I have 50 leads and I want to find out email address as well as background one by one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to loop over my entire workflow. Click on plus and we're going to introduce a new module or a new node, which is loop. Loop over items. It's nothing too crazy or rocket science. And the batch size we want is obviously 1. We only want for 1 rows at a time. Now we are going to use Perplexity to search the web to find out the website and the email address that is available on the website of this business. So how we can call Perplexity is by calling HTTP request. Search for HTTP request and then the method is post. We are sending the data that we have to Perplexity and we are not receiving the data. So we will say post. And for URL, we are going to use API perplexity.ai/shared/completion. And don't worry, you don't have to by heart it. So just go to or head out to Perplexity, log in or sign up with your account, click on settings, click on API. And why we are using Perplexity over ChatGPT search is because I have found Perplexity like find out email address and background information way much better than ChatGPT. So I will copy. You will need to add credits here, otherwise you won't able to perform any execution. And this is the API key. Click on generate. I'm using this one. Again, don't get any funny idea. I'm going to delete all my keys after this lecture. So let us go back and this will be the URL. So if you go back, click on documentation, click on API reference. Yeah, so this will be the post method as it suggests, and this will be the URL. If you click on try it, yeah, if we copy this and let us open this here, you can see this is the same URL that we are using. I hope this makes sense. I'm not coming up on my own. This is in the documentation and the method is post. That's why we have selected the method post. For authentication, we can use generic credential type. We can use header auth, and you can associate your header account with your API key. So type authorization and add your API key here. Yeah, you don't need to send out any headers or any query parameters here. All we need is we want some data from Perplexity. So what we can do is we need to send some body. In JSON, what we are doing is we are telling our Perplexity, I will show you. This is the prompt that you will get inside this workflow, which is the model is Sonar. And we are telling the system, you are research assistant, get data about the company and return it. If the field does not exist, return NA, and if the field exists, return JSON only. So we want email and the background for the name of the business, the address of the business, and the website of the business. Awesome. So this is like a basic query or basic prompt. Yeah, that's all you need to do to find out email address and the background. Save this, and now this data will be in JSON format, and we don't know what is like the output of the JSON. Like we cannot read output of the JSON and send it directly to Google Sheet. So what we are going to do is we are going to parse that JSON that we will get from Perplexity. So how we are going to do that? By using code. So search for code, and the code that we are going to use is this one. Basically it means that we are cleaning our JSON that we will get from Perplexity. And lastly, we are going to append that or update this information inside our Google Sheet rows. Let us add a new node, which is Google Sheet. This time we are not adding a new row, we are updating a new row, which is update rows in sheet. This time we need to map columns manually, but we only need to map one column, which is the UUID. So why we added UUID at the first place? Because whenever we are updating the row, our agent won't know which row to update, right? Let's say you have this many rows. Our agent won't know which row belongs to which business. That's why if the UUID is exact matching, at that row it will update. It won't update in any other row. That's why we have added UUID. Wait, I will show you what I'm talking about. We need to column to match on UUID only. Yeah, that's why we have added UUID. Awesome. Now we need to map these fields. So we need to execute previous nodes. Let's wait for it. So we have the payload or we have the data. So simply just drag and drop email here. Same goes for background. And delete the remaining one because we don't want to update this column. And we need to attach the UUID. This is the UUID. Awesome. That's all you need to do. Click on test tab. And this time it wasn't able to find out anything. It was not able to find out even the background as well as the email address. Yeah, it was able to find out the background. So here you can see it will update the background of this dental clinic in Ahmedabad with the doctor name, with the degree, pretty much every details that you can find out on the web. Awesome. Yeah, congratulations guys, you made your first automation or workflow inside N8N and you should be super proud of yourself. So let us test our entire workflow again. Let's say we want to find out 10 dental clinics Ahmedabad. So this node executed successfully. So we need to wait for 1 minute because we have added the polling of 1 minute, right? So after 1 minute it will update the email address and background if it is able to find out. So let's wait for 1 minute. So as you can see, it was able to find out 10 dental clinic in Ahmedabad. Awesome. As you can see, it is now executing this also. Yeah, it was able to find out the email address and the background. This email also. Yeah, the reason is in Ahmedabad, in the region where I live, people don't have usually even a website, trust me. But if you are doing this lead generation in USA, pretty much for all of the leads, you will be able to find out the background as well as the email address. I have found out that. As well as even if you are searching for Belgium or Germany, you will be able to find out this email address. Yeah, so feel free to just play around with this workflow. It will be in the resource section. All you need to do is click on these 3 dots and then import from files. Alright, I hope you found this valuable. If you have any question again, do let me know in the community. I'm always happy to help. That's all from my side and I will see you in the next one. Hi everybody, it's Manthan here. A lot of you guys were having this problem. In chapter or lecture number 5, which is lead generation of Google Maps, you are not able to find the prompt. I had another question like this, no prompt in the JSON file. So I don't think like it should be an issue because it is working fine for everyone. So just download the resource, the JSON file of N8N workflow. You can see it's downloaded. Then let's go to N8N, then click on create new workflow. Click on these 3 dots and choose the file that we just downloaded. Yeah, so here you can see we have the code notes, we have the prompts. Everything will be automatically defined on its own. You don't have to write anything on your own. You can see this is the code node. These are the prompts. Just change your location and your niche here. Same goes for our AI agent prompt. All the prompts and the code nodes will be automatically added once you add this JSON file. You do need to make sure that you connect your OpenAI account, then this error will be gone. Same goes for your Google Sheet account and the error will be gone. So just connect your Google Sheet account as well as your Perplexity API key. All the prompts and JSON will be automatically added. So you don't have to do anything, to be honest. You have to just simply import the file by clicking on these three buttons. Click on import from file and then just simply connect your Google Sheet account or your Google Sheet, your OpenAI credentials, etc, etc. But yeah, I think you will be pretty good then. See, like in this example, at 21 minutes you could not find this particular prompt in the downloaded resource file. So if we go to 21 minute random function, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can just simply go to ChatGPT or Claude to come up with this code. I have used Claude to come up with this code. I haven't written this on my own. Yeah, you don't need to configure anything else. Yeah, so it is talking about this sub workflow and the code node. So Lenny is not able to find out the prompt in the resource section. So if we open this code node, I think like we have the JavaScript code. It is working for me. Can you please retry it again? Just import from file. Let me delete everything once again. I will do it. And boom, there you go. We have the code node, everything as it is. Alright, if you have any other question, do let me know. I'm always happy to help.